much for joining. I will just introduce you, Lauren, because some people might not know where you're from.
Yep.
So I've invited Lauren on board with us today. So Lauren's from Guild Insurance, and we met at Hair Festival last year. And I really loved that Guild Insurance is an Australian owned company. So there's no offshore tele conversations. You're waiting online. You can't understand the person on the other end and you're unsure of things, which I've been that person. And you just want to know what is the right protection that I need as a solo operator to ensure me, but also maybe my tools and making sure that my business is protected. So I had an amazing chat with Lauren, and Guild Insurance is definitely by far the best that I have come across. And I just really wanted to invite you on and for you to explain a little bit more into exactly what the right protections are. So we've got public liability, we've got professional indemnity, and we've got some other insurances. But I'd really love for you to explain into what they are
Yes.
and what the difference is and why we might need this in business.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you could go through that, and I know you've got a presentation, so I'll let you go through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, perfect. Yeah. I just put a few slides together just to kind of prompt me to obviously cover all angles. But you can stop me any time along the way if you've got questions or you want me to elaborate. I'm happy to do so. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. So here you go. So insurance solutions for hair professionals. So we do hairdressers. We also do barbers. And we do insure salons as well, as I said. So salons we've done for a very long time.
Mhm.
And our salon product, it wasn't right for individual hairdressers because our rating was different. It was charging way too much. So we had a few people coming through after the hair festival actually trying to get quotes. And our salon product wasn't quite right because that's built for kind of large commercial size salons that have obviously a much higher liability risk than individual hairdressers who are just working from their own premises or from a rented chair. That's just a little bit about Guild Insurance. So we've been around a really long time. So established in 1963 and owned by the Pharmacy Guild of Australia. So that's our kind of background is healthcare, pharmacy, allied health. So we still do a lot of that, always, focusing on professional indemnity. And then we've also got our more kind of consumer-based market. So fitness, hair and beauty, and we're sort of looking at other ways we can expand outside of that health and allied health space. So we, as I said before, provided insurance for hairdressers for 35 years. And how our model always was previously is our sort of local account managers kind of building their business just with local hairdressers in their area. So just going into salons and sort of giving them insurance quotes. So was sort of the old-fashioned model of how we started to insure hair salons. And we've recently developed a new solution for freelance hairdressers and home salons featuring competitively priced premiums, we hope. So
They
with our,
are.
yeah, I mean, I think they are. We've done our market research and they seem to be very, very competitive with what's out there. And what we're doing as well is we are including treatment risk as standard with all our public liability quotes, and we're not really charging for it. So we're kind of charging for the public liability and throwing in the treatment risk as a standard, which
Can
is
I
good.
talk into the treatment risk?
Yes.
My understanding is treatment risk is we have a risk when we put color on anybody's head. So there's a risk that we could have a reaction, a risk that the hair could swell, a risk that something could happen to the client because we've put a chemical on the client.
Yes, correct.
Is that,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So
So
that
that's
is
yeah.
what treatment risk is.
That's treatment risk, and I'll go through that in a little bit more detail just on
Okay.
the next slide as well. So yes, aside from the public liability and treatment risk, you've also got the option to add on cover for your tools and equipment. So 5, 10, or 20K worth of cover there, but not mobile phones or computers. So we don't
Okay.
insure those on that cover. Okay, so insurance claims. So two types of claims for your industry. So public liability, that's when a client slips and injures themselves in the salon, or you accidentally damage their property. So you spill dye all over their new coat and they try and claim for that. And then you've got the treatment risk claims. So they're claims that come from any of the treatments that you have provided, your professional treatments. So whether that's a chemical burn, you've got dye in someone's eye, that would actually fall under a treatment risk claim as
Okay.
well. Any of the other kind of chemical style treatments that you do on premises. So any kind of personal injury that has occurred to someone as a result of your treatment. So that's the difference there. So public liability, it's, you've forgotten to clear up water on the floor and someone slipped over and broken their leg in your salon. That's public liability. Public liability can also be you've got a sign outside your salon and it blows over and crashes into someone's car.
That nearly happened to me,
Oh,
actually.
did it? Yeah. So it's an example I like to use because I always see them falling over when it's windy outside.
Yes.
So it does happen. So if it did cause damage to third-party property, then that would be covered under your public liability insurance as well.
No.
Another public liability claim that we had, it's actually been our largest claim to date because it really blew up because it was an elderly woman on a salon chair, and the salon chair was sort of loose. So when she sat on the chair, it kind of tipped forward and she really hurt herself on the basin in front. But it ended up being quite a big claim that blew up because of all the medical costs involved.
Wow.
I know. So just little things like that as well, that obviously someone's injured, but it's not as a result of your professional treatment. It is just an accident that's happened.
It happened.
Yeah. So that's what public liability is for. And then treatment risk is important. And not all insurers cover treatment risk as standard. And a lot of policies will actually have a treatment risk exclusion on the policy as well. So that's really important. And I think it's not clear either when I've been doing sort of my market research and having a look at what the market provides. It's not always clear to the person purchasing the policy whether they're covered or not. And I think a lot of hairdressers will think, oh yeah, public liability, that will cover me for my treatment risk. But it doesn't always. Some insurers do. They'll put an endorsement on and it will say we cover any claims coming from professional treatments you provide. But some insurers will just exclude it. So that's something to always look out for when you are purchasing your insurance policy, is that your treatment risk is covered. And sorry, carry on.
Is there certain public liability levels? I know that there's like different millions.
Yes, yeah. So we've got 10 mil and 20 mil for public liability. Now we say most of the time 10 mil is more than sufficient. There might be certain times when you are required to have 20 mil, and that's if you're maybe doing work with charities or on mine sites or with children, any kind of contractual agreement where they have asked you to have the 20 mil. And often there's not much of a difference in the price between the 10 and the 20 mil. So some people just opt to have the higher cover. But I would say in most cases, if someone's going to fall and break their leg in your salon, for example, it's quite unlikely that that claim is going to blow out to be more than 10 mil, right? It's
the other
quite rare. Yeah.
Like what, for instance, with that scenario, like, are you able to share like what they had to pay or anything like that? Or like, were they for 20 million or 10 million or don't know?
Yes. Do you mean what how much the premium is, or
Yeah, well, for the lady that fell and hit
the
her
lady that
head
fell?
and
Sorry,
had
that
the big,
claim. So that claim ended up being $500,000.
yeah, right.
So that's our largest claim that we've had at Guild. There might be, obviously other insurers might have seen much larger ones. But that's the biggest one we've seen, and it was still only 500,000.
Yeah, so 10 million sufficient.
Yeah, so 10 mil, you kind of think that should be more than sufficient. And you'd be pretty unlucky for several people to claim against you in 1 year, but it could happen, which is why the cover's there.
Yeah.
And I put here about professional indemnity insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of say for most hairdressers that are just doing the standard services, you're cutting, you're coloring, and doing hair treatments, treatment risk cover should be sufficient for you. But the difference with professional indemnity is when a mistake that you make can cause significant financial harm to your customer. So we say we offer full professional indemnity if you require it. It's not on the package that we've got for solo hairdressers, but if you do need professional indemnity, you can call us and we can add it on. But yeah, professional indemnity, normally if you're working on a contract that's required you to have the professional indemnity. Sometimes hairdressers who are working in TV, media, runway shows, anything where their professional mistake could cause a significant financial hardship on whoever made claim against you. So, for example, you had a contract to do 25 models hair for a runway show. You weren't able to fulfill that obligation. They then try and sue you for not having their models ready for the runway show. That's kind of the difference there between the just having treatment risk and then having professional indemnity. It's the full professional indemnity cover will cover you. It's a broader cover that will cover you for people claiming for financial hardship. Or maybe if you did an actress's hair, for example, and burnt it all off, and she said, well, I now can't earn my $2 million from this commercial I was shooting or a TV show I was going to be in. So they come and sue you for that. Does that make sense?
100%.
Am I explaining that right? If you have any other questions, let me know.
What about, because a lot of solo hairdressers now are going into like education and doing, some are doing like mentoring like myself, or some are doing some other things like that, like education, if they're doing look and learns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Professional
So
indemnity would be
yes.
required for
So
that.
you would need professional indemnity if you were training or coaching other hairdressers. So sort of young up and coming hairdressers, you would need that cover. We can provide that cover, but it would be separate to the package that you get
Yes.
For your own like solo hairdressing business.
Yeah.
We would have to endorse that on. So it's something you would have to call us for.
Yeah.
And we would have to add that you're also doing the training, teaching, mentoring.
Perfect.
It may be that you do.
But for the standard solo hairdressers, this is all that they need: the public liability and the trust.
Yeah. So you're working from home or you're renting a chair and you're cutting and you're coloring, then just public liability and treatment risk is sufficient for you. And then the cover for any of your equipment, if you want to cover your tools and your stock, if you take any of that with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Brilliant. Next slide. So we briefly sort of touched on this. How much cover do you need? So it just completely depends on several factors: where you're located, the practice area that you're working in. So you might be working in TV or charity or on mine sites, any contractual obligations, and your previous history of insurance claims. So if you've worked for 25 years and you've never had a claim, then it's likely that you run a very tight ship. 10 million public liability will be sufficient for you, but obviously it is a personal sort of choice of what level of cover you want to take. Okay, so what's the cost? So this is for our so for individual hairdressers, we've got the public liability, treatment risk, and you can add equipment cover on as well. And that's all available through our online portal. So you can just go onto the Guild website, get a quote within seconds. And if you're happy with it, you can go all the way through and purchase the policy at the end. So here, 10 million public liability, including the treatment risk. So that's $29.98 per month. or 359.70 a year. And the 20 mil public liability is including the treatment risk is 44.96. So it is a bit of a jump between the 10 and the 20, but still not anything too significant there. And then if you want to add on the contents cover, it's just obviously increasing the premium there for the property cover.
Yeah, and they're quite affordable. And I really like how that you can do per month because a lot of
Yes.
solos like
Yeah.
to do that for cash flow or just pay up front.
Yeah, and there's no extra cost or interest for paying monthly. So because
Right.
we're a direct insurer, so some of the brokers out there will use premium funding
Yes.
companies. So there is a bit of interest added for paying monthly, but for us, there's no interest there. So most of our clients across all of our markets really choose that monthly option.
Hmm.
Just an easier way of paying. And then we do also have an online, I'll just stop sharing here. Come back in. We have an online policy hub as well. So once you've purchased your policy, you can go online and all your documents will be there. So when you need your certificate of currency, everything will be available online for you to save a copy. And lots of risk articles as well we publish online. So just about different risks to consider in your market. So yes, that's our product. And then obviously, as I said before, we still cater for salons as well. So commercial salons, we still have a product for that.
Hmm.
But obviously, with our relationship through Indie, we
Yeah.
know that most people will be obviously they'll be freelance. Do any of your clients do they ever set up a commercial salon or it
Some
is
do.
really some
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Some want to spread their wings and set up a commercial space, and then they might rent chairs out.
Yes,
So,
yes,
and do that so that
yeah,
they're still somewhat solo, but they're in a bigger space. And then,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
And it
yeah,
seems it's definitely like the renter chair seems very popular these days and going off solo. And I think especially since COVID, I think a lot of hairdressers have taken that road.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like you said, the hairdressing council last week or 2 weeks ago, they said 70% of hairdressers are now working in that solo
That's it.
space, which is amazing, really. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, if anybody has any questions at any time, they can just reach out and I'm happy to have a chat. Even if it's not your renewal time, you're welcome to give us a call and talk through your insurance requirements or just get an alternative quote until it is time for you to
Yes.
renew.
So if somebody is already currently insured with somebody else and then they're interested, they looked at those rates and fees and they were like, oh, that's a lot better than what I'm on. I'm definitely interested in switching over. What
Yeah.
would that process be like?
Yeah, so they definitely can do that. That is, it's up to them if they do want to take out a new policy and cancel with their existing insurer.
Hmm.
They'll just have to make sure they don't have any cancellation fees or, you know, whether they're entitled to a pro rata refund. So it would probably depend on who they're currently insured with and what the terms and conditions are. But yeah, they can, you know, they should be within their rights to cancel that policy and start a new policy with us if that's what they want to do, or alternatively, yeah, wait until yours is up for renewal and then come across.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. I will
Okay.
post all of the links below for anybody who is watching the replay. And if you jump online, so the link will be there online. So I'll put underneath here the link for you to go on and have a look at Guild Insurance. You can type in all of your requirements and you can get a quote specifically for you. And from the drop down box, if you quote Indie, so it'll say anybody who's referred you, it'll link you through to me and they'll make sure that Lauren will make sure that you are very well looked after, which is amazing. So, yes,
Excellent.
thank you
Thank
so
you. I
much.
really appreciate the time to come on and have a chat and
Yes, it's
speak to you
amazing.
soon.
Thank you
Excellent.
so
Thanks,
much.
Anne.